Hey everyone, the market bounced today. Really nice move off of this zero gamma level. This is actually a support and resistance zone here that we've kind of been watching for the last several days. We mentioned in yesterday's video that there was a lot of zero DTE negative gamma exposure that would be rolling off after the sell off yesterday. Here at the 580 and the 579 strikes, all that rolled off, which allowed the positive gamma exposure at the 585 strike to really exert its influence on the market today. And so we got kind of a relief rally, and it seems like the market is heading back, at least for SPY, heading back to that 585 strike. This Friday is the October monthly options expiration. OPEX weeks tend to be positive or have a positive bias overall. When we see VIX expirations like we saw yesterday, that always tends to throw a little bit of a wrench into the mix. But I'm expecting that positive bias to hold for this week, targeting either this 585 strike or potentially 590 if we get some serious momentum going. That would obviously mean new all-time highs again for the S&P if that does take place. Again, we always like to watch the volume at these higher strikes to tell us whether there is indeed interest at these contracts above where we're trading now. Also, the gamma exposure levels are going to be really important. This 590 strike has been consistently strong with positive gamma exposure, and so that's something we're going to continue to watch this week as well.
Yeah, thanks, Anthony. I was noticing once again the market, SPX is what I've got pulled up right now, bouncing perfectly off of the whole moving average. We've got the Kellner channels aiming straight up, 58.85 as a top limit to that channel. I mean, to me, we've got 2 days left in the week. It really looks like the market is making an attempt at a new high by the end of this week. We're through VIX expiration today as well, which VIX monthly options expire pre-market. And those basically were within the range that we expected. So everything I'm seeing is in line with what you just said. We're in a strong uptrend, and it wouldn't be surprising to see the market aim for those higher levels by the end of the week.
Yeah, great points on the VIX, Sean. Another broad market index that we've been watching very closely in our community Discord is the IWM. IWM taking off here from this 215 level just a few days ago, kind of forming a double bottom here on a near-term chart and running all the way up to the 225 level. We see gamma exposure at the 230 strike growing strongly. This is our upper dealer cluster here. IWM is interesting for a number of reasons. Small caps can oftentimes have significant end of cycle rallies. And actually, this is a chart that we shared in our community Discord earlier today. This is basically a 3-year look back on the IWM, and look at where we are right here, coming to this major resistance level here. This is a 3-year span, going back all the way to the end of 2020, and now hitting this major resistance level. If IWM does break out of this zone, there could be tremendous upside. We're actually talking about, potentially looking at some leaps or contracts further up the options chain into 2025 to take advantage of a potential sizable move here into year end. That's something we're watching closely as well. And so, I just think it's interesting that the gamma exposure picture is also backing that up on a near-term basis, showing that this 230 level and higher has a lot of positive gamma exposure. So I think the odds are in the favor of a breakout of this major resistance level.
Yeah, thanks, Anthony. That IWM is really looking interesting, especially in the context of that late stage rally candidate. It's just been consolidating for so long. That's something we'll definitely be keeping an eye on. SLV was actually an idea that I'm going to share that was brought up by one of our active members. And in Discord, he goes by PX. It looks like most of the gamma expires Friday. That's in the 30 range. We also had pretty high volume at 30, which we can see right here. And we dipped into the dealer cluster zone, and we started to climb out of it. So, in my view, this is probably just getting started. to the upside, and we have that target for Friday, which is when most of that gamma at 30 expires. We can look at the chart, and I also like the confluence of the price being not too far from this 2850, whole moving average, and the upper Keltner channel matches perfectly, almost perfectly, with the gamma concentration at 30. So if we can hold this 2850 area, SLV has a pretty good chance to run to that 30 area.
Yeah, SLV definitely one to watch. Another name that I'm looking at is NVIDIA. We mentioned this in last night's video. NVIDIA had quite a sell-off after that ASML glitch earnings report that came out and caused the semiconductor space to sell off. We mentioned this 130 level being pretty large support and resistance. When you go back over the previous weeks and months, we thought that the gamma exposure was strong enough to the upside to see a potential bounce. We got that bounce started today, getting above the 135 level. It looks like 140 either this week or next week. It has a strong probability to get into that level. That is the upper dealer cluster zone. We're seeing volume come in today at the 140 strike, and we even see gamma exposure at 145 and 150 looking pretty strong as well. So, as long as the market holds up and doesn't fall apart here, I think NVIDIA and a lot of the other semiconductors can get back to previous highs. And great start today with this move that we saw here for NVIDIA.
Yeah, so one last thing I wanted to cover, Anthony, this PepsiCo, which is definitely, far different sector than the semiconductors, a little bit more of a defensive name, actually, but we've got strong positive gamma. We're basically at 174, and we have very large GEX clusters at 180 and even 185. And if we go over to the chart, that also backs this notion of, holding the whole moving average at 174. And we've got substantial upside basically to this 180, 185 area, the 179.94 being the top of the Keltner channel. Yeah, really like the odds, especially with this wick here, holding this whole moving average. And really, as long as we hold 172.5, I'm kind of leaning to the upside, but, pretty good odds of 180 from my view.
By the way, if you guys are interested in accessing our gamma exposure dashboard and our option flow analytics, head on over to geeksoffinance.com. You can sign up, become a member. I'll put a link in the description below. Also, don't forget, you can join our community Discord absolutely free. We've got a number of great traders sharing different market analysis and trading strategies every single day. I'll put a link in the description below. You don't want to miss that. Thanks so much, everybody, for watching. We'll see you guys in the next video.